Hello friends, this is Thaddeus from Going Nerdy, and today I would like to talk about one of the biggest controversies in the gaming community right now. This topic came to me as I was creating my last video, the 43 questions to be answered by during the live Q&A session on the forums. The topic at hand is loot boxes. Now, you've probably heard this. You probably know about this if you're even a mildly avid gamer. And if you don't know what a loot box is something that you can either pay real money or in-game currency for to give you a bonus. This plays out in the Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes game as packs, bundles, character bundles, release kits, those types of things, right? Starter kits, starter bundles, all with their value, all have their risk, and all are varying degrees of value to varying degrees of people, right? People will find, some people love to spend money on this game. This is their hobby. This is what they love to do. And no one can fault them for that. That's their choice. Good for them. Some people spend money on other things. Totally fine. That's your prerogative. Most players I know are free to play players. There is advantage in paying to play. You get stuff faster, you get stuff sooner, which is the same as faster. You can get decent gear. Really, it just comes down to, are you willing to wait?
Ain't nobody got time for that.
The controversy comes with, or the whole topic around this came to mind as I was creating this last post, and there was a question that was brought up that I just had to make an entire video around. And the question is this: with the changes that have occurred with online loot boxes and online loot crates on Apple and other platforms, is there going to ever be more transparency on the odds of rewards when purchasing a box with a certain amount in it? For Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes, that is the packs. Now, bundles, you pay a specific amount. A new character bundle is usually $9.99. You get 40 character shards, which is enough to usually get you to level 3, sometimes level 4, depending on how many character shards were given in the original drop of that character. Sometimes it's more, sometimes it's up to 80, and sometimes it's not $9, and sometimes it's 20, sometimes it's 59, sometimes it's whatever it is. It can change depending on what's being offered in the pack. Now, the thing that I've always liked about those bundles, the things that I've always liked, is it's a guarantee. It shows you exactly what you're getting, and it shows you, you can judge for yourself. I am not above spending the occasional $10 or $20 or other to get packs and bundles. I've avoided packs since I've pretty much filled out my roster. There was an article in Forbes that talked about why EA is wrong to say that Star Wars 2 loot crates aren't gambling. Now, this was the biggest issue, right? So for those of you uninitiated who, just stumbled upon my video, you have no idea about Battlefront 2 or even Battlefront 1, the loot crate concept really took a huge turn in this game, and it gained a lot of traction. EA took a hit in their stocks and their viability, and what's sad is it really took away from the game. I actually loved the story mode. I wish it were longer. It was a lot of fun for me. I know a lot of people didn't like it because they didn't like the actual story, but the story mode is always fun for me. I really love playing through stories like that, through games like that. For me, no matter what the developer of EA says, no matter what the science behind it, I'm one that loves the story of the game. But what happened was they created this online loot box system where you could pay to get characters unlocked sooner rather than later. Now, otherwise, it took a crazy amount of time to unlock these characters. So if you were trying to earn points or earn stuff in the non-story mode, what happened was you were facing up against people who were willing to pay for the victory, meaning they were willing to pay the extra money to unlock a Darth Vader, to unlock a Palpatine or a Sidious or whoever, right? A Boba, versus people who still struggled. Now, personally, I loved the old Battlefront 2 It was hands down one of my favorite games. It is one of the things that got me into Star Wars. Loved it, loved it, loved it. Can't say enough good things about it. That game was phenomenal. I loved the way that you could earn rewards in that system. That game, it was based on merit and not buying your way to the top. Here's the thing, though. Not only was this, I guess, disconnect between pay-to-play and free-to-play incredibly broad, but it garnered a lot of traction. So much so that EA actually went through and revamped the whole system. But the problem is a lot of people have taken it to extreme. And I say a lot. A vocal minority have taken this to an extreme. And there's a number of people in powerful places, like the senator, or I think he was a senator, he might be a congressman, from Hawaii. And I'll go ahead and play this this press conference and how he talks about how this loot box is a predatory gaming technique that game producers use to, you know, to make money.
This game is a Star Wars themed online casino designed to lure kids into spending money. It's a trap.
It's a trap!
Now, he seemed very passionate in that speech. It was definitely heated. He definitely believed in what he was talking about. I will put a link to the actual video in the section below, and I'll also link to the articles that I really pulled a lot of this information from. But what's interesting, though, is it really gambling? And there are some people that say yes, there's some people that say no. There's been a lot of stuff that's come out recently about social media and how the whole dopamine thing, if you guys don't know, like every time you get a text, you know, you get a flood of happiness emotions in your brain. You're like, ooh, someone I love likes me. And then, you know, you realize it's the IRS and you're like, oh, screw you, IRS. And then that dopamine goes away. Same thing with this, right? There's a rush of adrenaline. There's a rush of dopamine that enters your brain that excites you, right? And that dopamine can be addicting. And people are saying, oh, well, they're using this as an addictive tool or as a way to get kids into gambling. And it's a gateway drug, right? We've all known about gateway drug, you know, how really, you know, if you want to go down the line, hot chocolate is a gateway drug to heroin because, you know, hot chocolate has caffeine in it, just a little bit because chocolate does. And then caffeine has, Coke and, you know, soda and stuff like that. So people start drinking soda, then people start drinking soda and they start drinking, you know, and it continues down that line inevitably until we're all strung out meth heads. And, you know, it's just a time. I mean, it's just sooner rather than later is really what a lot of people would like to convince us. Now, I don't necessarily want to get into the politics of this, but what's interesting is this question came up for CG. And this is also the reason why when I do decide to buy or to spend money on this game, I will always spend money on bundles over packs. Because like I said earlier, a pack is not a guarantee. One of the things that Apple is trying to do, and I think has done actually, is they have worked out a system and said, if you're going to offer loot crates, if you're going to offer these reward type boxes in your game, your players need to know the exact odds of getting whatever those things are. Now, so what's interesting about this is if you go into the actual footage of the packs, it'll say, here are the different numbers that you can receive. It's like 5, 10, 12, or 5, 7, 12, 20, 50, 80, 110, and it just, you know, it goes up all the way to 330. But what's interesting is with this change that Apple is either implementing or trying to implement, what they are doing is essentially saying, hey, CG, you now have to tell them what the odds are for this. Now, the idea is if you're going to spend money, you're going to spend money. That's fine, but know what you're spending it on. I like the game. I've spent money on this game. I've spent money and it's been incredibly useful. I've spent money and it's been incredibly worthless because I wasted it, or I didn't use it effectively, or I wasn't as strategic as I needed to be. And that's why I always recommend getting crystals over the other stuff, because if you're going to spend money, you know, crystals come with refreshes. Crystals come with other things. I don't like packs. Personally, that's just my thought. But what's interesting about this is their response. Now, their response is regarding the Apple policy regarding drops, or drop rates, we are aware of this policy and we're working with Apple on what this means for our game. We don't have specifics at this time. Now, it doesn't seem to me, I mean, and that's not necessarily dodging the question. In my mind, what I think we'll see is whenever they launch whatever this information is, they'll launch it for the statistics, both for Apple, Android, Google, whatever, right? Whatever device you play this game on, you will have the drop rates, right? Whatever that means, whatever they negotiate through Apple with Apple, they're going to share with the entire community. It won't be a subsect. It'll just be, you know, whatever. Now, what I'd like to see is an actual tiered pack release, right? So where you can buy packs at different crystal values, right? So if you want to spend 500 crystals, maybe you have a chance to get 5 crystals, and maybe the chance of getting 5 crystals is higher than, let's say, 80 crystals, but you're only spending 500 crystals, right? But maybe you go up to, you know, 999 crystals, and you're spending 999 on a character, and that 5 to 10 to 20 to all the way up to maybe like 50 to like 150. Those are now your odds, right? Those are what you're going to be getting. You're spending twice as much, but you're potentially getting twice as much as well. That's what I would like to see implemented. And that's what I think would make a lot of sense to implement in this game, right? Because people who aren't going to spend the 2,900, 2,800, 20, whatever that crazy high amount for crystals on a pack are more likely to spend it at a lower price. It would be easier for me to spend 1,000 crystals on a character that I'm missing maybe 60 shards on than spend, you know, 2,000 crystals on a character that I'm missing 60 shards on, because the chances of me getting for 2,000 is just not likely, right? The odds aren't in my favor. So I'd like to see kind of that, right? Now, the other thing I'd like to see is a faster farm. Now, I know that's not going to happen. I get it. I do. It makes sense because it makes the game more competitive, right? If a really difficult player, I mean, Baze, for example, I mean, I worked on Baze for so long that I got sidetracked and I was frustrated with it. And because I became frustrated with it, I missed out on like 3 metas, right? I finally got Baze after like a year, but it probably shouldn't have taken me a year to farm one single character. 6 months, if I'm not paying a ton of attention, I could see that. And really the way to do that is to increase drop rates when you're playing in you know, different areas of the game, right? So light side, dark side, that's what I think would be really cool. Now, those are just my opinions. I'd like to hear back if you've spent that kind of money on this game. I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to know if it's been valuable to you. I'd love to see what your roster looks like, because it must look awesome. I have a pretty solid roster. I do. I feel pretty comfortable with my roster. I don't always have the newest characters, but I'm at a point where I get them pretty quickly. And that's been great for me. I really like that because I am a collector. I like to collect all of them. I know there's people out there who do not collect the characters they don't like. Case in point, Holdo or Rose. But I do. I will. You know, they're solid characters. And I want them 7-starred, and I will get them 7-starred. Now, I will not buy their character kits because I don't value them that much. I'll wait to farm them, but because I already have solid enough team or to use to play with that I don't need to farm the newest of new characters. I can deal with what I can survive with what I've got currently. But not everyone feels that way. Now, do you believe that these practices are predatory? Do you believe they're targeting children? Do you believe that there's going to be a great awakening for CG and they're going to make some huge changes? You know, I think minor changes are coming, to be honest. I think that's what we'll see. I think we'll see some minor changes. But with that, guys, I do have a great announcement. I'm very excited for this. I have recently come into possession of 3 copies of Battlefront 2. I have 1 for PC, 1 for PS4, and 1 for Xbox One. Now, the 1 for Xbox One and PS4 come with the Ultimate Deluxe Edition. Now, I'm really excited about this. I've never had a giveaway before. And so what I'd like for you guys to do is, or the rules for this is, I am going to give away these 3 to players who have liked this video, subscribed to my channel, and shared this video. Obviously, I want the channel to grow. This, I mean, I think right now these games are at like a $40 value, but even still, it's a free game, right? Now, a deluxe version, that's pretty sweet. I'm pretty excited to give that away. But the deluxe versions are only for PS4 and Xbox One. So please like, subscribe, share, and leave a comment. What do you guys think about, what do you think will happen with this, you know, with these packs and bundles? This has been Thaddeus from Going Nerdy, and as always, my friends, stay nerdy.